What if the rivers that keep Pakistan alive were suddenly choked off by a neighbor's political tantrum? That's the heart-pounding crisis Pakistan faces today. In April 2025, India dropped a bombshell, saying it's suspending the Indus Waters Treaty, a 64-year-old pact that guarantees Pakistan's access to the life-giving Indus River and its tributaries because of a terrorist attack in Kashmir they blame on Pakistan. For Pakistan, this isn't just a diplomatic jab. It's a threat to the water that feeds 247.5 million people, waters 47 million acres of crops, and powers an economy hanging on by its fingernails. But here's the truth. India can't just pull the plug, and Pakistan's not backing down. Join me as we dive into why this treaty is Pakistan's lifeline, the ironclad legal promises both countries made, what happens if India dares to break them, and why Pakistan's water is safe, for now at least. This is a story of survival, justice, and a nation fighting for its future. So let's get into it. Picture this: the Indus River, roaring through Pakistan's fields, turning dusty plains into green gold. It's not just water. It's the backbone of 80% of Pakistan's agriculture, which fuels 24% of the economy and employs nearly 40% of the workforce. Without it, wheat, rice, and sugarcane crops would wither, food prices would soar, and millions would face hunger. The Indus and its 5 tributaries, Jhelum, Chenab, Sutlej, Beas, and Ravi, start in the Himalayas, mostly in Tibet or Indian-occupied Kashmir, then flow through Pakistan to the sea. Back in 1947, when India and Pakistan split, India got the upper hand, controlling the river's starting points. That's why the Indus Waters Treaty, signed in 1960 with the World Bank's help, is Pakistan's shield, ensuring those waters keep flowing no matter how heated things get between the two countries. So what's the deal? Pakistan gets the western rivers, Indus, Jhelum, and Chenab, carrying 80% of the system's 135 million acre-feet of water yearly. India can use water from these rivers for generating hydropower, but only if it doesn't touch Pakistan's share. India takes the eastern rivers, Sutlej, Beas, and Ravi, without any restrictions. The World Bank provided financial assistance to Pakistan to build irrigation infrastructure in the 1960s. Both sides have a permanent Indus Commission, with one commissioner from each side to swap data, check sites, and fix problems. If they hit a snag, the treaty's got a 3-step plan: talk it out, call a neutral expert, or go to arbitration. This treaty's a rock, standing strong through 3 wars and decades of bad blood between the two arch-rivals. It's not just paper, it's Pakistan's lifeline. Now, let's unpack the legal promises both countries swore to uphold, because these are the chains holding India back. Pakistan's job is to use the western rivers smartly, no wasteful projects, and share data on its dams and canals. It's got to keep the commission humming and follow the dispute process. India? They can't mess with the western river's flow. No blocking or diverting water to hurt Pakistan. Their hydropower dams have to be run-of-river, meaning no big storage. India must share flow and flood data so that Pakistan can plan accordingly. Both have to keep the commission going and stick to the treaty's fix-it steps. The World Bank, which brokered the deal, plays referee, picking experts or arbitrators if needed. The biggest rule? Article 12 says the treaty lasts until both countries sign a new one. No one gets to bail out alone. These promises aren't just words, they're Pakistan's armor. So why can't India just rip up the treaty? In April 2025, India's government, pointing fingers at Pakistan for a Kashmir attack, said they're hitting pause on the treaty. Pakistan's response? Bring it on. Legally, India's move is dead in the water. Article 12 demands both countries agree to end the treaty. No solo exits allowed. International law, like the 1969 Vienna Convention, says you can only ditch a treaty for a massive screw-up, and Pakistan's alleged terrorism ties, denied flat out by Islamabad, don't count as a water treaty violation. The treaty's dispute system says it stays active even during wars between the two countries. Pakistan's Foreign Minister Ishaq Dar threw down the gauntlet, saying, "Prove it at the UN or the International Court of Justice." Experts like Shashi Tharoor are backing Pakistan, calling India's suspension a legal flop that could land them in hot water at the ICJ. The World Bank, a treaty co-signer, could call India out, tarnishing their global shine. Practically, India's got no real weapons at this moment. They only have tiny storage 3.6 million acre-feet on the western rivers. Building dams to choke the Indus or Chenab would take 10 to 15 years, billions of dollars, and spark protests in Kashmir over eco-damage. Their allowed dams, like Kishanganga, are for power, not water grabs. India could stop sharing flood data, but that's a nuisance, not a knockout. Pakistan's dams hold just 14.4 million acre-feet, 10% of its share, so it's vulnerable, but India's suspension is all noise, no action. As India Today says, it's a pressure tactic to bully Pakistan on terrorism, not a real water cutoff. Pakistan's not buying the bluff. What happens if India breaks the treaty? Big trouble. Pakistan could drag India to the ICJ or UN, winning a ruling to force them back in line. Pakistan's called this an act of war, and their military says water threats could trigger a full-on response. Terrifying, since both have nukes. Economically, even tiny flow cuts could slash Pakistan's crops, jack up food prices, and crush 16 million hectares of farmland. A representative from Pakistan Agriculture Research says losses could hit billions, hammering small farmers and the general public alike. Regionally, India's gamble could push China to block the Brahmaputra, which India needs for 30% of its water, starting a water war. The US, UN, or World Bank might jump in to cool things off as water fights threaten the world. X is lit up with posts like @DawnNews rallying global support for Pakistan's cause. If Pakistan slipped up, say, by misusing water, India could push for arbitration or hold back data, making Pakistan's life harder. Pakistan would lose some moral ground, but the treaty's dispute system keeps things in check. In 2010, Pakistan challenged India's Kishanganga Dam, and a neutral expert set flow rules. Arbitration over Ratle and Kishanganga is happening now, showing the system catches cheaters without breaking the treaty. This hits home because Pakistan's fighting for its survival. The Indus feeds millions and keeps the Pakistan economy alive. India's suspension is a wake-up call. Pakistan's water is down 20 to 25% in 2025 from weak rains, and climate change is tightening the screws. If India ever built dams, dry seasons could starve farms, as farmer Khalid Hussain Bath warns. Globally, Pakistan's food shortages could spike prices, and a nuclear water fight is everyone's nightmare. If you believe in fairness, this is about a smaller nation standing up to a bigger one's threats. Pakistan's got a game plan to hold the line. They can take India to the ICJ or UN, showing how 247.5 million lives are at stake. They can push the World Bank to mediate. It's worked before. Building dams like Diamer Basha with China's help will store more water, cutting reliance on India. X campaigns, like @Hamid Mirpak's posts, can rally the world to Pakistan's side. And while war is the last resort, Pakistan's military is ready to defend its water. This is Pakistan's fight, and they're not backing down. India's playing a risky game, but it's not checkmate. The treaty's legal walls and India's lack of dams mean Pakistan's water is secure for now. The Indus Waters Treaty is Pakistan's fortress built to last through wars and worse. It's survived, and it will again. If this fires you up, share it on X, support water justice, or tell a friend. Pakistan's rivers are its heartbeat. Let's keep them flowing strong.